hey, our podcast intro button worked. I wasn't sure if it would work. Cool. Welcome one and all back to the Whatnauts. Captain's Log. I almost forgot what podcast we were on here. Number 277. My name is Kyle Springer. I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson.
Hello.
Melissa. Hello, and thank you for this wonderful art that you sent me. This is amazing. I have it right here. You sent this like lovely note. You wrote all sorts of stuff on the packaging, including "delivered to Kyle and Rachel, not Luigi's Pizza," which is then ironic because the artwork that you got me says "Make pizza, not war,"
with a little dove holding a ribbon that says "Everlasting Pizza on Earth." I got this at a local art fair.
This is great.
The artist had a number of pieces in that style, "Make X, not war." But this was the only one that had the additional comment of "Everlasting X on Earth." And it was very funny to me. Don't just make pizza once. Make pizza forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I plan on getting a frame and putting it up in our kitchen.
That's where I imagine you'd put it. Enjoy.
We love it.
Good. I'm very happy.
We love it. Indeed. Besides that, Melissa, how are you? What have you been up to?
I'm doing well. I had another fun surprise for you. It's not a thing I can give you, but it's something I've been very excited to tell you about. At San Diego Comic-Con, there will be a panel that unites two of our greatest interests, one from you and one from me. Mattel is doing a panel.
A play all about Mountain Dew.
An F1 race through a mall.
Yeah.
Mattel is doing a panel all about the Street Sharks.
Yeah.
Hosted and emceed by the boys from podcast The Ride.
That's awesome.
What a team up.
Street Shark panel. It seems so strange that with the success of the Ninja Turtles recently, there has not been an effort to maybe bring back some of those other anthropomorphic group
Biker
of
Mice
teenagers.
from Mars.
Right. I've even seen a number of posts online about SWAT cats or something like that. But yeah, it just interesting that there's not a new Street Sharks thing out there.
There should be
something like that. Yeah.
Shark Week remains very popular.
Yeah, if nothing else, a TV special for Street Sharks on Shark Week.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
What are their names again?
Awesome. Oh God, I have no idea.
You don't even know that?
It's been so long.
Do they have shark names, or are their names like Billy?
I think the big guy, the brown shark, I want to say his name was something like Slamoo. Or
that makes sense. I believe that. Yes.
Yeah, but it I would also I do feel like there is a name tossed in there. It's like Slamoo and Jason, right?
One human name we're gonna throw in it's Game of Thrones. Where there's just a guy named Ned.
90s teen boy name.
It's Big Slamoo.
Big Slamoo. Okay.
In addition to Ripster, Jab, and Streaks, spelled Streeks, voiced by Andrew Rannells from Broadway.
Next thing you know, Broadway production of Street Sharks.
Please. Oh my God. Oh, they've got a character named Moby Lick. What is a Moby Lick?
I think he's the whale-looking character.
Well, of course. Wow. El Sordo. Manta Man.
El Sordo.
The Dino Vengers. Oh, I haven't even gotten to the list of villains yet. Dr. Luther Paradigm. Incredible. Yep. Please make restaurant reservations under that name. Sharkbot, Tentakill, Slobster, Killamari, Shrimp Louie, also voiced by Broadway star Andrew Rannells.
Shrimp Louie. It's your boy, Shrimp Louie.
Which has got to be a dish, right? You go and you order the lobster Oscar, the Shrimp Louie, the steak Diane. That's his sister's name. They're adopted.
Yeah.
She's from land, he's from sea.
God. Those shows were just kind of ridiculous. Like even Street Sharks, as much as I have an affection for that show, right? It was just kind of bad.
Yeah.
It didn't have the same magic that the Ninja Turtles had, which is why that is so much more successful, right? But even like the biker mice from Mars just didn't even have the gasoline that Street Sharks had.
Oh, these are also brothers. I'm like, I was wondering if that was part of the magic, that the Ninja Turtles are brothers, whereas other groups of anthropomorphic animal heroes are merely friends. They are also brothers, so that's a shared advantage. It should also work for them.
That is correct. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they're adopted brothers.
Okay.
I don't know. It's been multiple decades since I have watched the Street Sharks show.
We'll do this for Pilots
Club. I used to own it.
Pilots Club on Street Sharks.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Let's see. What have I been up to recently? Obviously, last episode we had our trivia night, which was a lot of fun as well. It feels like it's been forever since we've done a regular episode.
I have so many movies to catch you up on.
Oh yeah,
that's all I do.
We have a bunch of those. You know what? Before we get to our movie corner, I want to tell you about something that happened to me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I've mentioned a couple times here on the show recently, my partner and I are starting to expand our bar a little bit. We want to get into our cocktail phase. I'm mostly a whiskey person. My partner tends to like tequila.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know anything about rum or gin or stuff like that. But those are staples, like in cocktails and stuff like that. So we went to our local liquor store yesterday, and I asked the guy, I was like, hey, do you by chance have a recommendation for a gin that we could get? And at first he looked and he was like, I don't know, man. But then like face lights up. He's just like, no, I do have one. Here we go. It is called McQueen and the Violet Fog.
What?
And it happened to be one that Rachel and I were looking at. It's right here. It is purple. It's this like almost lavender color. It is McQueen and the Violet Fog Ultraviolet Edition. They have a regular one that is clear. And we were like, we saw it on the shelf over there. It looked fascinating. It is a hibiscus berry flavored gin. And apparently it is the brands that Wiz Khalifa has invested in, the rapper Wiz Khalifa.
Wow.
I don't know if it's his brand proper or if it's like he's invested in that one. But we were sitting there and as we got back from the stores, we were putting all our stuff away. I finally sat down and I went to YouTube to see if I could find some reviews. And it was actually fairly difficult to find a review on this. It's not a new one, but there's not very many like reputable like alcohol or cocktail channels that have reviewed this specific one. But all of the reviews I did see was like, it's actually pretty good. Like it's surprising how good this is, even if you feel like this is a gimmick gin, right? Of like, it's Wiz Khalifa's. So yeah, but then the YouTube algorithm works in weird and mysterious ways. of course, it gives you the search results of the things that are like most directly related to the thing you just searched. And then it also gives you like the people also watched.
Yes.
And it tends to be based on the words that you put in the search, but it's not your search exactly. And so, Melissa, most of this search was just filled with homemade videos of evil Lightning McQueen.
That's what I was
cars
expecting. Yeah.
In the Backrooms. Like in Minecraft videos, in the Backrooms, in some weird computer generated city. It was so strange. And so we had to watch the one where he's in the back room.
Yes, of course. That part I was not expecting.
Yeah, it's only like a minute long, but yeah, it is some non-Lightning McQueen cars kind of venturing around in the back rooms, and it's trying to be scary, but also who's gonna watch this besides like a young child? So it's not super scary.
A Backrooms completist.
Right, yeah, but like written on the walls is supposed to be scary stuff like dead battery.
Oh,
and
it just says ka-chow
like,
written in blood. And they're like, I don't
installed. Right? It says stuff like that, and it's kind of ridiculous. And then yeah, you get to like he goes down this one hallway, and then all of a sudden, evil Lightning McQueen is right there, and it starts chasing you. And there's this like little chase scene with evil Lightning McQueen. So I just had to share that because I thought it was ridiculous.
Thank you very much. And if there's an evil Thomas the Tank Engine, if we've all seen that meme, it makes sense. That should transfer to an evil Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole time they're playing this like trap song, this like hip hop trap song to make it sound like, oh yeah, this is a cool video. Hell yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be scary. Is that the scariest genre of music?
It's just like this like haunting trap beat. I don't know. So yeah, we stumbled onto Evil McQueen and the Violet Fog.
Incredible.
The other day. It was good.
I wonder if that's one of the secret rules of the internet, is that if you want to do like a dark cartoon character, at some point they must be put in the back rooms.
Especially for like here, like now going forward, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You have to have something like that.
See if you can find some evil street sharks. And if not, please make some.
There's been like homebrew, home done animation stuff.
I'd be more shocked if there were professional ones. Oh, that's true. Right? Okay.
Yeah. There's not stuff like a model from some video game that people can rip out somehow and then reanimate it into their own thing.
Street sharks aren't in Team Fortress 2.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. So yeah, that was my adventure yesterday with the alcohol.
Great to know. Thank you for the recommendation. You describing that as a berry flavor reminded me of Mountain Dew Legend, the blackberry ginger flavor of Mountain Dew that is only available at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I've had it once, yeah.
I've also had it once. Pretty good. I'd get it again if I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings, perhaps watching one of the mini Olympic events on their big screens. This reminded me, Oklahoma City, your current residence, plans to build the tallest skyscraper in the U.S.
So they say.
Many people have said they want to build the tallest skyscraper in wherever it is they are. You know, every once in a while, one of these does hit for a little while. It is the tallest for a couple months until there's a taller one somewhere else. Which is very funny to me that of all places it would go in Oklahoma City, which is just flat, flat state, beautiful state, but quite flat. And I love the idea that this is where you would put the tallest skyscraper in the U.S. because you could see it from so far away.
Yeah.
If they put it in Oklahoma City, I could probably see it from Missouri.
Probably, especially on a real clear day. They just passed some like city law ordinance something that did away with the like height limit of buildings, that like they could only be a certain height or they could not be past this one building that's already there. I don't know the details, but yeah, they've at least taken a small step in that direction to make the ultimate tallest tower.
Like, your city doesn't have enough great features to already bring somebody there. Like, it wouldn't get enough Twisters tourism. But I bring this up.
That's the thing, though, of like, why build these extra tall buildings in the middle of hurricane or in the middle of tornado country? That just seems like a recipe for
so you can
disaster.
Look down at a tornado from the top. I don't know.
Do the buildings somehow like stop the wind from blowing? Like, is it a disruption in a way that would stop the storm?
I don't know.
I haven't seen Twisters yet. Melissa, you might know. You've already watched it.
They don't talk about skyscrapers in it. I bring up this tallest building because it will be named Legends Tower.
Yeah.
I feel like we almost predicted this.
Where every week we thirst for the taste of legend.
Right.
Smash cut to me licking the building.
Tastes new.
Salty.
I've never heard about that before. Everybody's like, I've been to the top of the Empire State Building or the Sears Tower. Tom Cruise climbed to the outside of the Burj Khalifa, but he did not taste it. That was not in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
The only thing that reminds me of is that old stop smoking commercial where the kid was running around like licking everything, and it was like, I'm gonna lick a dumpster, I'm gonna lick this dog, this street, this car, this thing, and it was just like, if you think that's disgusting, check out all these chemicals in cigarettes.
People go to Ireland and kiss the Blarney Stone. It's about time somebody realized, what else can I kiss?
There's plenty of things out there. The world is your oyster. Is your kissable lips.
Go lick Tokyo Tower. Go lick the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah. Go lick Gum Wall over in Seattle. Gross. Gross indeed. Okay. Twisters.
Melissa. You gotta go see it. You of all people in the city where you live.
I have my tickets to go see it on Tuesday. Apparently, there was a theater nearby that we could have gone to for the premiere. The stars showed up.
Whoa.
It was like 10 minutes from my house, and we just didn't know.
Was it the good big Regal?
I don't think it was the Regal. It was like the Harkin Theater or something like that. But still, it was just like, yeah, I could have been there, and I just didn't know. So, oh well.
Someday.
Oh well. But I'll check it out on Tuesday.
Twisters is great fun. It is such a top-notch time. It is a fairly standard popcorn action blockbuster, but just real high-quality ingredients all around.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibes that I've been getting. I've seen like a number of articles trying to be like, here's why Twisters didn't mention climate change and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm not going there to watch some dissertation on climate change.
They better
I just want
mention
some
it.
dumb movie. Yeah,
right.
I just want some dumb popcorn flick. And then I think the best review that I've seen so far was someone reviewing it as well as their first 4DX experience. They were like, I've never, they were like, it was a roller coaster ride. It started out small, but it got bigger. People were screaming. It was a blast. But then they said something like the biggest scream from the entire time that I was out there was from some woman in the back who screamed as loud as she could when Glenn Powell had a wet shirt on.
I almost reacted similarly. There is a scene where he wears a tight white shirt and a cowboy hat in the rain. And I'm like, this is indelible imagery from this day forward. It will imprint itself in the back of the minds of many citizens. We'll all remember this on our deathbed. Wet Glenn.
Yeah, exactly. On our bingo cards for the review show, the male lead taking off his shirt in some eye candy way.
Wet shirt.
Wet also counts. It's right. The same thing. It's the like, what is the male protagonist eye candy for the ladies and the gays out there?
For
right?
anyone, for any just muscle enthusiasts. Yes. I saw Twisters at Ronnie's 20, the biggest theater in the St. Louis area, and they often have extra activities for you to do. And because I saw it Friday night, opening night, they had actual storm chasers just holding court in the bar. On the big screen where they project like the Cardinals game, they were just showing actual tornado footage. And they had like photos and like articles and things you could look at. You could talk to them. You could ask questions, which is a great scientific opportunity for the whole family. And they had a wind canister. It's just like a big machine. You don't crawl into it. I would love to crawl. You open the door like you're going into the fridge at the gas station to get a Mountain Dew. You go inside and it's literally a light switch. On or off controls the wind of a domestic household light switch. It's branded.
Is it strong enough to like make you almost feel like you're floating? It's not, because it's not one of those like fake sky
no. This this thing is like, it's just a big tube. You know, this got here in the back of a truck. This isn't an installation. It's probably here for the weekend, and then I don't know where it goes. But sure, it was a lot of fun. It's a little bit more intense than your average science museum. It is a touch more of a thrill. I had a great time just being buffeted with winds for 30 seconds. Laughed my ass off. Great time in the wind.
Is it like lit enough where you could like take a selfie as like
it's a glass front door. Everyone can see you. It was fun just watching all sorts of people go in there and go into the wind and live the Twister, ride it out.
Interesting. Yeah, we have our tickets for Tuesday, and even on like a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. our theater's packed.
Good. Like, well, Tuesday's typically the discount day.
Oh, that's true. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's why it's packed. Like, it must be just because it was filmed here in Oklahoma. Like, we're all just like, yeah, Oklahoma.
I think it's from the 2 times I've been to Oklahoma, it's a beautiful portrait of the state. Made me want to go back.
Yeah. Huh. There you go. Didn't think about that. But yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Other films I've recently gone to see in the theater. Let me give you the whole list. These are the new releases of the past month or so. I saw Kinds of Kindness, which you also saw. I saw Horizon, An American Saga, Chapter 1, of which apparently I was one of
saw that one.
Of course they did. Many parents saw it. Most. There were very few non-parents who saw it. I might have been the only childless person attending Horizon, An American Saga, Chapter 1. I was the youngest person in the theater, which I expected by many decades. And this older man comes in. He's got the assigned seat next to me. He looks at me and he says, "This is the Costner movie, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Don't let my youth confuse you. You are in the right theater. It's weird that I'm here. I know."
Yeah. That's great.
I saw A Quiet Place Day 1. I saw Maxine, and I saw Long Legs, which I sent you a recommendation for.
Yes. Yeah, still have not gone to see it yet, but I really want to.
Get it. Get out there. It's doing very well. You should have a good crowd.
Cool. Good. Yeah. I know you were also super excited for Maxine. You've recommended those movies to me as well. I know we've vaguely talked about maybe watching the trilogy for horror month down the road here. What did you think of Maxine?
Solid, a good time. The consensus seems to be it's not as good as the first two movies, but it's still a lot of fun. And it's very stylish and fun to watch, which is all true.
Okay.
Saw it at the Alamo Draft House. They gave us a whole prize pack of Maxine stickers now.
Nice. There you go. That's fun.
Very good.
That's fun. What about A Quiet Place? Because that's also one that I have no interest in, but people seem to like those movies.
I saw the first one in theaters, never caught up to the second one. I saw this one because clearly if it's a day one, I don't need that much context for it. It's okay if I missed the one in the middle. And
Sure.
I thought if Us is one of my very favorite movies of recent years, I owe it to myself to see whatever this new Lupita Nyong'o horror movie is.
Sure.
Especially when the scariest part of Us is what she does with her voice. Let me see the movie where it's no voice. She can't speak.
It's just her face, expressiveness of her face.
Really surprising, the core drive that her character has in this movie is something you can't tell from the trailers. They set it up very early in the film, so if you hear it, it's not really like a spoiler. But she just goes on a very unique journey throughout this movie. Her and
That's
Joseph Quinn. Nice to spend some time with him. Our Johnny Storm. Later this year, he's going to be in Gladiator 2 with Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal. And that's a fun preview of times to come. I look forward to Gladiator 2 quite a bit. I really liked A Quiet Place Day 1. It's surprisingly sweet, much more not much more emotional, but like it's really got a strong emotional hook to it, equal to the horror hook to it.
Okay, interesting. Surprising. It's on one hand surprising, but also not. It's John Krasinski, right? Like he's good at writing and crafting stories that also have heart in them. So
yeah, I think he maybe co-wrote this and produced it.
I gotcha. Good stuff. It's been like a month since we've done a regular episode, and so Kinds of Kindness came out a couple weeks ago, but we haven't got to talk about it yet. Yeah. We both saw this one. I had a fantastic time with this. And if you're unfamiliar, I don't know how to say his name.
Yorgos
Lanthimos. Thank you. Same director as Poor Things. And this is kind of an anthology, like there was like 3 stories in this, but it's mostly all the same actors, just in different roles, different characters, stuff like that. So I feel like it flew under the radar for a lot of people, and especially with how weird Poor Things may have been. This is like, do you want, it's not difficult to get into, but it's like, here's some even more, like, these are for the ones who really enjoyed Poor Things and my other movies and stuff like that, right? It's not the big blockbuster that Poor Things
Poor Things was a movie that did far better than I think people expected, both in terms of box office and critical reception. And I can't imagine that people came away from that either really wanting more or never wanting more.
But we had a good time. We had a decent crowd in our theater. Good. And yeah, I loved it. I had a blast. It's such a hard movie to describe, like what this is.
It's these 3 stories about bizarre emotional struggles, and each one, like, you have a little bit of time to sort of settle into it and figure out what's going on. Like, nothing is really explained to you. You just have to get it as the thing goes along for like 40 minutes.
The first story is this tale about a guy who works for this like mysterious CEO, playboy, something, to the point where the CEO like comes up with all of his employees like daily routines and what they eat and schedules when they have sex.
I don't know if it's everybody. I think those two
at
characters,
least certain key figures.
Yeah, he has the sort of domination role over other people where it's not necessarily sexual, but it's like, I will plan your entire life. You as my sub, I decree you will read 30 pages of a book tonight. Do not have sex. Wake up in the morning, have half a glass of juice, jog for an hour, wear this suit when you come into work.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's strange, and it's the character like dealing with that and reconciling with that relationship, and the lengths to which he would go to get that relationship back when he loses it.
He's asked to essentially kill somebody, do something that could very well result in the death of another person, and he refuses to do it. And then his dom's like, all right, bye. And then he's lost. He's floundering. He needs that back.
Yeah. And then story number 2 was about a character who lost his wife in a plane accident.
Shipwreck.
And
something like that.
Shipwreck.
Yes. She's a scientist. Like she's out exploring.
And he's taking it horribly. He doesn't really know what to do. He's seeing his wife in other people. He happens to be a cop. And his best friend that is the only one that's like helping him kind of go through all of this stuff. Turns out they're also all swingers.
This is the funniest thing. So this segment of the movie starts. It's Jesse Plemons, and then the other couple is it's Margaret Qualley and Mamadou Athi. I might have some of those syllables wrong, but I really enjoyed that actor in his multiple roles in this movie.
He's a fantastic actor. Yeah.
You don't exactly know what's going on, but it's clear like there once was two couples who would spend a lot of time together. They were friends. They'd have dinner parties. Jesse Plemons has recently lost his partner in some way. The others are trying to comfort him. He's so fixated on her, and they're trying to change the conversation, move on to something else. And all he wants to do is watch these old home movies of her. And they're like, well, we've seen those. I don't know if now's the right time. Okay. If this is what you want to watch, we'll watch those home movies. Hard cut to just a stag film of the four of them.
Them four just going at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the screen weeping, and they're just sort of like awkwardly nodding and smiling
awkward.
along. Yes.
Yeah. It was really funny because like the whole movie has weird vibes. Everything is off.
Yes,
like it just
that goes without saying.
Everything is like, this is strange. It's not maybe exactly what it seems or something like that. I did not know that they were swingers yet. I hadn't really picked up on that yet. My partner was like, "Oh yeah, I knew from when they introduced the characters." I was like, "How? How do you just know that? I don't know."
Sense. That's a superpower, swinger sense.
But when they're at the table and he's just like, "Yeah, can we watch the home movies?" The guy that was sitting next to me goes, "Oh my god, porn. Please be porn. Please be porn." Like he's whispering this. Yes! Yeah, he's whispering underneath his breath, and that's exactly what it was. And he just goes, "Yes." It was great. It's so funny. But yeah, I loved the scene when that second story starts, and he's in the police station sitting next to someone they recently arrested, and he's like stroking his cheek and his hair, and they're like, "Look, he even thinks that guy's his wife." It's hilarious.
What I love about all three of these stories is that each of them feels like they could be their own full-length movie, but cutting them down to just like a 45 minute segment adds so much mystery because there's no time to explain anything. You just have to go along for the ride and catch up.
Yeah. And this second story then takes a left turn as the wife comes back. And he starts thinking something is wrong. This isn't actually my wife. And horror ensues.
Yes.
But the third story is also a great one. These two people are members of a cult, and they are, I forget what the point of their journey, like what were they looking for? They're looking for someone who could raise the dead, right?
Yes,
Is that
and
like,
this person needs to fit all of these prophesized criteria.
Yeah. And so they're on this road trip looking into all of these psychics and stuff, then like people who claim that they have powers and stuff like that. And one by one, they're just like, no, it's not you. It's not you. And then, Margaret Qualley's character, who happens to be playing twins.
Yeah.
She is like, hey, it's not me you're looking for, but it's my sister. I know you guys are looking for someone. And so they eventually go check out the sister, who happens to be a veterinarian in this like small podunk town. Her outfit as the veterinarian, just amazing.
There's great outfits throughout this movie. I especially love the Tivas sandals everyone in that cult is wearing in the third part.
To me, the vet outfit is the thing that stood out the most because of how young Margaret Qualley is. Like, it is absolutely an outfit that you would see like an older woman who's still single by herself. Like, this is all she does. This is her entire life. This is exactly what she would wear. But here's Margaret Qualley. I'm not sure how old she actually is, but this like young 20-something like girl just in this outfit. I mean, it just looks goofy. It's great. I loved it. But yeah, they ended up finding her and trying to bring her back, but that does not happen. And then along the way, Emma Stone is dealing with like not the loss of her family, but the separation from her family.
Like, she left to join this cult, and her ex-husband, does not accept it, really wants her back. It's not a good situation.
There is some tougher scenes in that. Like, there is a rape scene in that third one. But it's just, each story is bizarre in its own way. It's funny in its own way. It's scary in its own way. I did also kind of see these almost as homages to other directors or movies out there, or styles. Like the second story really felt like a Twilight Zone episode of like the wife comes back. It's not who she says she is.
It reminded me a lot of Annihilation if you just stayed with the part of the movie that's Oscar Isaac coming back and Natalie Portman's like, that's not my Oscar Isaac.
Right. Yeah. But then, it could also be a reference to a number of other horror films out there, stuff like that. I think this third story is very much like a Tarantino style film in just the way that she has this hot rod, and she's like zooming around the road. It feels like that. It felt like Pulp Fiction at times. It felt like just a number of other
Pulp Fiction.
No, that is still on my list of shame.
Okay, just like, checking in.
It's not a specific Tarantino film, is what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
It's his like the grunge that is kind of associated with some of his films, the way he edits, the way it feels a little more raw. Like, there's this grungy style to it. I don't know why you think that's so funny.
I've never heard it I've heard grungy as an adjective. I've very rarely heard grunge as a noun. He exudes a grunge. It comes off of him like a powder, like a mist.
I meant like the style of his movies and the way they present themselves.
I understand.
It is grungy. There's a grunge to it. Yeah. But yeah, I had a blast with those. Highly recommend Kinds of Kindness.
Yeah, I had a good time. You'll find one you like, probably. We need to get you to watch The Killing of a Sacred Deer, because I've not seen
it's
many
on my list now.
Yorgos Lanthimos movies, but boy howdy, that one did a number on me. Big fan of Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2 for me. So
that's good.
He's like, okay, he's shot it. I like his stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Only other quick things I'll say. I got to watch The Boys season 4, as well as The Acolyte, the new Star Wars show. I enjoyed both of them.
I also watched The Acolyte.
Oh, okay. Melissa, what did you think?
Oh, I'm not equipped to think about it. I don't have that kind of cool tick. I don't have the Star Wars opinion toolkit installed in my brain. I can't think much deeper than
as a show by itself. What did you think of this?
Oh, I don't even know that much. This was my designated show to download on my phone and watch at the gym. So I'm not really paying attention. It's just sort of sound and color. In something that I know other people will look over and they can kind of clock what it is. It is recognizable to other people, and it isn't confusing.
It's like, oh, lightsaber. Yeah.
Right, I know that.
She's watching a Star Wars.
I'll download a lot of theme park vlogs to watch on my phone. I love those. Those are a lot of fun. But then if you're not watching it in the context of this is our whole day at Disneyland Shanghai, it's like I'm just watching people in big Zootopia furry suits like prance around for a couple minutes. Like it can be strange. It can be strange out of context. I'm like, Star Wars, this is recognizable. People get the visual language of this. I'm not watching anything weird. It's just Star Wars.
Sure. Yeah.
I love the look of it. That's why I come to Star Wars when I do come to it. I like Star Wars aesthetically. There's always fantastic production design and costume and hair. This particular show had like really impressive performances. It was very moody. I like that it was a mystery. It was more dramatic. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the time I spent with it.
Cool. Good. It's an interesting one because I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was bad. It lands somewhere in the middle for me, where the first half of the show I feel like is kind of a mess. It feels stunted. It feels like there's so much that it's alluding to or that it wants to be, and then never actually goes down any of those roads. It feels like it wants to be like a YA novel. It feels like it wants to be like, well, let's explore the relationship between these two characters or those two characters. What are their love interests? And it never really does that. I did like the second half a lot more. I think the show kind of found its footing, found what it wanted to start saying about some of this. But then even some of the characters that I latched onto, there's a certain character towards the end that is a senator. Fantastic. I don't remember the actor's name. He's a fantastic character actor on TV. He recently played John Jones in the Supergirl show on the CW.
Cool.
All of that stuff. He is right there saying things about the Jedi that I have been saying for so long. They are an extremist religious cult, kidnapping children, indoctrinating them into their own thing. They need to be checked, right? Like this is not, you guys put on this like, oh, we're right and mighty. It's like, no, you guys sold yourself out to a government. What's up with that?
I like that Manny Jacinto from The Good Place shows up. He's just like full greaseball hot stuff. And he's like essentially saying, what if the Jedi fucked? And they're like, no, you can't say that. And he's like, But what if, though? Think about it.
Yeah. They don't let you have passion. Right? You can feel these emotions. I mean, like they legitimately have a scene where he's naked in the water.
Yeah.
He steps out and a character is there looking at him, and she very clearly checks him out, like looks down, and his line is, "You're thinking it's honorable to kill me in this state," and then it goes back to her, and that's very obviously not what she's thinking.
It is the horniest I've seen a Star Wars. Star Wars, one of the least horny franchises out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I liked the second half a lot better. I think it ended up in a pretty good place. I hope they get a season 2 to kind of further explore this a lot. But there was some interesting things that happened in this too. So I guess I was hoping to save this for end of the year and surprise you, but I might mention it now. So I've been reading a bunch of books this year, like actual I've been doing the audio books. But I've read 12 books so far this year.
Cool.
Yeah, two of them. I just finished the second one. I've read 2 of the High Republic Star Wars books. So there is a scene towards the end where Carrie-Anne Moss's character mentions a galactic disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I have read that book. I know what that galactic disaster is that she is referring to. And then I don't remember her name, the green-skinned Jedi at the end who had the whip lightsaber. I've seen her in that same book when she was a youngling. So it's just neat to be like, oh, it's this character. Oh, hey, I know what they're talking about. That's cool. So yeah, that was neat. That I like felt like I knew what they were talking about.
It's great to have context.
Yeah. Indeed. But let's see. We are already 48 or so minutes into recording.
You want to do a little housekeeping break, and then we can come back for some little pop culture roundup?
Yeah, I think that would be good. I don't know if I'm able to do. I don't think I'm able to hit the button. So yeah, I will say let's break right here for some housekeeping. And when we come back, we will. Get into some pop culture lightning round stuff, some trailers and things, and we can get on out of here after that. So we'll be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts, and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. And we are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you a lot. It means a ton. Let's see. Over on the Pilots Club, this month we got to talking about Phineas and Ferb. I am a good chunk of the way through season 1 right now. I'm really enjoying it.
It's delightful. Truly so fun.
It really is. there is there's a lot of episodes in each of their seasons, though. So my partner and I are taking our time with that one. So don't expect me to be back next episode being like, I'm done with it.
You can't be, and there's no it's the same thing every episode. So there's no real plot milestones to look forward to. It's not like, oh, I got to the part in Lost where they live in the Dharma camps now. I met Desmond.
Yeah. But this next month, we are talking about the pilot episode of Homecoming, the Amazon Prime show based off of the audio drama podcast. So that will be an interesting one for us to talk about. I cannot wait. This is one I binged the entire show, but immediately after watching that first episode, I was like, I need to talk about this with Melissa. This is going to be a great one. So had to bring that on the show. Then over on the free version of the Pilots Club, we released our episode of the 2011 Wonder Woman unfinished pilot. Never made it to series. It's an infamous one, to say the least. So go check that one out. That's a lot of fun. Next month on the free version of the podcast, Small Wonder. Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong. You brought this to the show.
Yes.
Because it is often considered one of the worst sitcoms.
I think so, at least for sitcoms that got to live and be sitcoms and were not a singular episode like Puchinsky. Small Wonder is an 80s show about a family that adopts a little girl who's a robot. Yeah. And it's a little human actress who just acts like a robot and does robot things. Her name's Vicky. It stands for Vicky something. It's some anagram.
There you go. So that's over on the Pilots Club. Right here on the Captain's Log, I mentioned it earlier. We did our trivia nights, which was a blast. Ignacio got to join us on that one. Melissa, you squashed us. It was bad.
I am a trivia professional, so it's not a fair. There should be an episode where I just write questions and ask the two of you.
We could certainly do that. But it was still a lot of fun nonetheless. You always learn something new with those ones. That's what I like about that. You learn some good fun facts. Let's see. Over on the review show, we started our French cinema month. And we started out with a weird one with Titan. Which certainly was a film.
It's absolutely a film. It's like 5 kinds of films crammed into one. And it's a
wild one.
It's a bizarre initial premise, and then every new development and new obstacle somehow makes it stranger.
Yeah, indeed. And then we finally have a new episode of the Reactor Core for you guys to check out. We did a spoiler cast on season 3 of The Bear. I guess following up our episode of the review show of The Bear, where we covered seasons 1 and 2. So we're all up to date on The Bear. Go check it out. It's good fun. Good fun indeed.
I'll say that speaking of The Bear, the Emmy nominations are out. Noms, the Emmy Awards they're usually in like September. The writers and actors strike last year really threw them for a loop, and they had to push the Emmy Awards from last year to January or February this year. So schedule's really off, but I wanted to let you know these are here. They celebrate quite a number of shows I know you enjoy. Shogun led the noms. Shogun really seems like a lot, right? For a lot. Yes. Followed closely by The Bear.
It's a great show.
I loved Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You probably like Fallout. I don't know that for sure, but it seems right. It seems like a Kyle thing.
Fantastic.
We had some True Detective Night Country in there. A good variety. Really comprehensive Emmy noms. Go take a look.
Yeah, absolutely. Still a little upset that The Bear is in the comedy series, but what can I do?
folks are. There is discussion about how,
Yeah.
yes, The Bear is very good. When it wants to be funny, it is funny, but it is...
At its heart, it's a drama.
And it has this massive power to it and kind of distracts from other shows in the category that are incredible comedies that have like really good joke-a-minute comedies.
I agree.
It's just
I
something
agree.
we got to
Hopefully,
live with.
I feel like a show like this, though, will bring about some change or
Perhaps.
discussions in the background of like, hey, do we need new categories here to better categorize some of these shows here?
And the Emmys, I scrolled all the way down through the technical awards. I'm an Oscars nerd, and I'm learning to be a bit more of an all-purpose award show nerd and learn more about the Emmys.
Sure.
If you get down into the technicals, they have awards for like costuming, period. Costuming, contemporary, costuming, sci-fi, and fantasy. Which I think is wonderful that you can award like the costumes in the Acolyte or something. You can award the costumes in something like the Gilded Age. And then you can give The Bear an award just for Sydney's bandanas.
Yeah.
A real
Absolutely.
highlight, sincerely.
Indeed. Yeah, lots of great stuff. Lots of great television recently.
Speaking of television, thank goodness the date's finally on the calendar. Severance Season 2 premieres January 17th, 2025. Kyle, thank you for bringing me this valuable update.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. I'll probably do a rewatch of season 1 early January.
We should cover it on the podcast because it was something we talked about briefly on the Captain's Log when each of us were watching it, which was not at the same time. Let's do a whole episode about it. Let's really dive into Severance. I love it.
Why not?
I'm happy it's going to be in January because that show owns Cold, Lonely Winter. It is not for summer.
Right, yeah. Who knows? This one might take place all in summer. Melissa's so upset.
I'm trying to... I think the way season 1 ended, season 2 will probably pick up very promptly afterwards and still be in just gray slush times.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, that is a super exciting one. Like, I feel like my most anticipated show right now. So good stuff with that. Here's one shifting over into the comic book world. Jeff Lemire he's announced a number of new books.
Good for Jeff.
Recently. There's one that I'm adding to my list called Minor Arcana, which I think sounds fun. But he recently announced a new book set in the Black Hammer universe called Black Hammer Spiral City. And from the like little arts that they had to go along with the announcement, it looks like it's kind of a mix of like Hellboy and Sandman mystery theater. Not the Neil Gaiman's Sandman, but the like old DC Comics character that had the like gas mask on his face. He looks like a 1920s detective with his overcoat and detective hat thing on there. But the detective character is an ant. He's like this humanoid ant character with an ant face and pincers.
Wow.
Yeah, so it looks interesting, and Black Hammer is a fantastic book. So, indeed, I thought that would be of note since we have covered the first couple volumes of Black Hammer over on our other podcast, The Review Show.
Every time I go to a bookstore, I look to see if they have any. I think I was able to find volume 1. I'd really love to finish reading that series.
I'm in a similar boat too, because I have volumes 1 and 2. Volumes 3 and 4, I think, are out of print. And instead of continuing those, they've then put out these big these oversized library editions. And you can get like library edition volume 1, which has the first 2 volumes, and then library it's like 2 volumes each, but they're these like oversized like hardcover, I think, editions, which are beautiful. They're gorgeous. But it was like, but I already bought volumes 1 and 2 of the smaller ones. I want the smaller ones, and I can't get those.
Right.
So
where do I
think
fit a library edition? Where does that go in my home?
Yeah, I may just have to bite the bullet and be like, all right, I'm going to have to recollect it in this version. So be on the lookout for those library editions, because it'll be good.
I'll go to the oversized section.
Yeah. And then, tangentially into comics, the Russo brothers apparently are in early talks to direct the next 2 Avengers films.
Well, you accidentally dropped the S and you just wrote Russo brother in early talks to direct next 2 Avengers. It's meant to be
both of them.
Like, what if they're pitting them against each other? We will take only
you
Joe
do one, the other one
or
does one.
Anthony.
Yeah.
You 2 fight it out. We'll put you 2 in a room. We'll come back in an hour.
Russo brothers, Civil War. Yeah, no. Apparently they are both in early talks, but that's one of those things of like, it's not solid yet. Who knows if they actually
I've heard like a variety of names in the Marvel universe historically tied. Like, it'll be Destin Daniel Cretton. It'll be Sean Levy. What?
Yeah.
We may have an answer in the next week. Comic-Con comes next weekend. I look forward to a big old news dump from Marvel. It's a lot of fun to watch the live stream reactions to those. I have extremely fond memories of the one from 2 years ago. I missed all of it live because I was going to see Nope. And then I come back.
I've texted you like this and this and this.
You pinged me with a couple things. And then I watched the whole like 2-hour-long New Rock Stars live reaction to the Hall H panel. And I'm like, that wasn't even everything. There's so much more of this. I love to have that feeling. I look forward to having it again. I hope they've got good, juicy stuff to show us.
Is there anything you're hoping for? Any prediction on the top of your head that you're thinking they might announce or do?
It is mentioned that this panel is right before Fantastic Four begins shooting the Monday after Comic-Con weekend. I imagine we'll get the whole gang out. Perhaps the other performers they've announced or have been mentioned, like Natasha Lyonne is tied to this movie, but we're not sure exactly who she'd be playing. Maybe we'll get clear labels of who is who from these supporting characters outside of the initial 4. Maybe we'll get our
some
look
kind of
at
other hint as to like, okay, we know this is set in an alternate universe. How exactly? What exactly? What's different about this universe?
We'll get a little context. There's a lot of outstanding projects that could use an update. What's the status of an Armor Wars, a Wonder Man? When do we see Ironheart? Things like that. There's a lot of like loose ends to tie up. But then there surely must be big new news to look forward to.
I could see some. Who knows if they've even started to shoot it yet? I haven't even paid attention. I was going to say the Daredevil stuff. Like, do you think
we should get a trailer for Daredevil? Yes, that makes sense.
Because that's coming in March of next year, 2025. So, yeah, I could see us getting some kind of tease at that.
When do you go see Deadpool and Wolverine?
Haven't bought my tickets yet.
Really?
So, yeah.
Playing with fire there.
Haven't yet.
Weeks ago, we got ours Saturday night, 8 p.m. So another case where I will have to come home and then catch up on the Comic-Con news. I believe they have the Saturday night slot, Marvel SDCC panel. When
that's probably about right. I feel like that's what happened last time too.
What time is the Marvel panel? It is Saturday, July 27th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you. That's all I needed to know is when my time I can look for news. I have heard theories that they will announce something that plays off of some new reveal or development in Deadpool and Wolverine. That the timing is not a coincidence for these two things happening on the same weekend.
Sure.
Yes, I will come out of that movie, come right home, see what's in store for us, see who I've met.
Yeah.
By the next time we speak, hopefully, depending on when you can get your tickets, who knows what new faces we will have met or old faces we will have seen again.
Right. Yeah. We know one of their next big initiatives or pushes will be the X-Men.
True.
So yeah, we could get some announcement for something like that of when they're planning on making the first X-Men film or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if I have any specific like predictions for Deadpool and Wolverine though, of like what's going to happen in that movie or what reveal there, there's gonna be, I know people recently have been complaining about some spoiler in the trailer, and my mind always just goes back to, but haven't you guys realized that most of what they show in the trailers usually happens in the first 20 minutes? And if not, it's usually somehow digitally manipulated to be slightly wrong or different from what happens in the movie.
Yeah, or like removing a context or something like that.
Right, yeah.
We'll give you a flash.
Background or something.
Right. There's a character who's standing here, but we're not going to show you that character. We're just going to show you the characters we already know are going to be in the movie.
Exactly,
I did learn what that is, and it is a cameo that really makes sense to be in the movie, and it wouldn't, like, it's not a completely out of left field shock. It's like, oh yeah, of course that person would be here.
Sure, yeah. So we'll see. We shall see. But I am excited nonetheless. Do you want to wrap up with? So you have a number of these trailers.
Yes.
Here written down. I don't know if we'll have time to watch them all.
We're not watching them. I just wanted to check in. It's July. We're mid-year. Let's talk about new movies coming up in the later half of the year that we have not discussed previously. This is my chance to fill you in on stuff I'm going to be hyped for in the months to come. F1, that is for next year. That is not a 2024.
Correct.
Film.
Next summer.
I look forward to that. I'm certain you do as well.
Yes, yeah. This is the of the ones that you have written down here on our list. This is actually the only one that I know. I haven't heard of any of these.
Explain these
ones,
others to you then. Good.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, F1 looks interesting. It's gotten some mixed feedback. I like the way they strapped the cameras to the cars. Like the racing itself looks pretty great. That looks awesome. But I did not like the music choice for the trailer. It just doesn't fit well with this.
See, I have no context. What they're playing is "We Will Rock You," and it's mostly like the instrumental parts of "We Will Rock You." Right, solid, perhaps a bit overplayed, but that doesn't detract from its inherent power. I recognize it as a classic jock jam. And I wonder if that is like to really amp up the sports energy and to place this more recent, slightly more under the radar sport of F1 among the higher tier, the upper echelon, the Mount Rushmore of sports. You like football, you like baseball, you like hockey, you like F1. It's here now.
Yeah.
Play the jock jam.
Yeah. It's interesting because everyone was pointing out that Brad Pitt is like 60 something right now, and they're like, that's unrealistic. And it's like, well, one, he's acting, he's playing a younger character, sure, and he still looks the part, right? Like he's still handsome dude.
I saw Gran Turismo, and I think that main actor is too tall to fit in those cars, but I wasn't complaining.
But the like, so I'm fine with Brad Pitt being in that. I don't. That's like him being 60 is not a problem for me. That's probably part of the plot. Because in F1, it's very rare to see someone like past their late 20s in these cars. Lewis Hamilton is one of the older drivers, and Fernando Alonso is the oldest one on the grid at like 38.
Oh my
or
God.
something like that. And
the grid?
I'm not sure exactly how old he is.
The grid, like it's Tron.
Yes, the grid. Because when they all line up at the start of the race, it's a grid.
Okay.
All right there.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Then there's the line in the trailer of him being like, "We need to build our car for combat," and I've seen a number of people up in arms at that of like, you don't do that. Like, we're trying to be a safe sport here. Like, no, you don't. And I'm like, guys, maybe that's part of the plot.
Yeah, it's like you don't.
He's this old guy who's coming back into the sport. Maybe he was a legend, a champion at one time, but he's too old now. How can he be competitive when he's this old and they don't have a great, like, they don't have the fastest car? And he's like, build it for combat. And then he maybe realizes his mistake or has to somehow win without using all of that, you know.
Perhaps this is a metaphor.
Not that he has like, right. Yeah. It's not that he like has spikes on the cars or semi-auto guns on it. Right. It's no. But they're like, that's unsafe. You don't do that. But besides that, I'm excited.
I don't care how realistic anything is. I mean, if something is very realistic, I'm like, wow, how fun to learn. But if something isn't, I'm like, well, maybe next time. I don't need to win on all of them.
Yeah. No, so I'm stoked. I'm stoked. So.
These other trailers, these are movies coming up throughout the rest of the year. Let's start with Here. This is the new film from Robert Zemeckis. This reunites him with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright from Forrest Gump. This is a very interesting looking movie. It's apparently based on a graphic novel, which I would love to read. Pencil that into our review show schedule. A graphic novel that is the history of a single location told from a single angle. The movie trailer.
Is that what? Sorry, continue. I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like I've seen that graphic novel.
Yes. The movie trailer. It's like, what if you had a security camera in the upper corner of your wall or whatever, but it's pointed at your room, and it just shows the history of that entire spot of land going back to like cavemen.
Sure, yeah.
It's mostly, I think, going to be the story of Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, and they move into this house. It was like his parents' house when they're younger, and then they grow old there, and it's the life of this family from the perspective of a single living room. Truly, they lived in that room. But you also see, like, going back in history, caveman times, the house being built, all of this stuff from the locked off angle. And when you think of Robert Zemeckis, it is the big, emotional, kind of schmaltzy stuff like Forrest Gump. It is the more technically audacious stuff like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or the pioneering digital effects of Death Becomes Her. And it's that motion capture stuff like Polar Express, Beowulf, that one weird Christmas Carol movie with Jim Carrey, where he is living in an entirely digital environment and he's like flying the camera frantically all over the place. And this movie looks promising to me in that it seems like a combination of a lot of things he's been doing throughout his career. And now a lot of them kind of culminate and hit together at once. And it's audacious, but also restrained. And it's like, what tricks can he pull with a single camera angle in a single location? His last few movies have not been very successful. So this one looks like it is, even if not a full return to form, progress. And I look forward to it. It looks both kind of schmaltzy and sentimental enough for an older audience, but just weird enough for a younger audience also. Such as Here.
Absolutely.
Heretic.
Okay.
Very funny that we have a Here and a Heretic coming out this fall. Heretic is a horror movie about these like Mormon missionaries, these two young girls who knock on this door, and it's Hugh Grant sweet, like cookie and tea Hugh Grant. And he invites them in to sit down and talk with him. And he traps them in his house. And his house is apparently a maze. And he's like, I built this as a test of your faith. If you believe you can get out, if you have faith, you will get out. Okay, I'm excited for this because I love a fucked up house. And we don't get enough of it
yes.
in horror media. A scary thing will happen in a house. A house will have a ghost in it. A house will look spooky. But sure. I love when you truly distort the space of a house when it's bigger than you think it is. I love secret rooms and tunnels and trapdoors and all that nonsense. And this looks like it'll deliver to me on that front.
Yeah. It looks like a good, like less of a horror and more of like a thriller suspense, like perhaps, puzzle mystery kind of thing. Yeah, it looks interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm. The Substance is also a horror movie. Really stylistically impressive trailer for this one. Enjoy that trailer. This is some sort of a body horror movie, I guess, about Demi Moore taking whatever the substance is to appear more youthful.
Okay.
Don't know much more than that, but very excited.
Is this the one? What's Sebastian Stan? Is he in this one? What's the one that
he's in 2 other movies? He's in a movie called A Different Man, I think, and he is playing.
That's the one I'm thinking.
And he's playing a young Donald Trump in a movie called The Apprentice.
Not that one. Yeah,
which
I think it's the other man or the different.
I think it's called A Different Man,
like you said.
That trailer I've not watched yet.
I've only seen a couple images, but the premise now reminds me of this. If she's like taking some substance to, look younger or stuff like that, it reminds me of Clayface, the Batman villain. Like he was an actor and started taking this substance to like help him transform into these roles, and it went bad, and then he just turns into this like pile of goop. It's Clay.
Clay. His name's not Goop
Man.
Anora is a movie about this like won top prize at Cannes. There's big buzz for Anora. It looks like a lot of fun. This is a movie about a young woman who is an exotic dancer and a sex worker, and this like son of a Russian oligarch hires her to like have fun with him for a weekend, and then they sincerely fall in love and they get married in like a Vegas chapel. And then his whole family is like, what did you do? You can't marry her. Who said you could do this? And then I think they have to go on the run from like a Russian mafia.
Interesting.
Seems like a good time. This trailer
stylistically looks good.
This trailer has not Anora, another one. This trailer's been out for several weeks. I've seen it a couple times, so I didn't think to put it on the list, but I need to confirm. Are you clocking Dee Dee? Is Dee Dee on your radar?
I've seen the trailer for that. That is on my list. That looks fantastic.
I saw it and I'm like, awesome. That's a Kyle film for sure. I'm very excited for Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Finally, Conclave. This is a movie from the director of that. Did you watch that All Quiet on the Western Front adaptation that was on Netflix? It swept a lot of the. It was a like German language film, I think. It swept like the international and a lot of technical awards at the Oscars a couple years ago. And this is that director's next film. It is a thriller set in a papal conclave to decide the new pope.
There you go.
So it feels like vaguely sort of Dan Brownish, but it's just like a feast of older character actors. I saw the trailer for this in IMAX when I went to see Twisters, and I didn't even fully get the gist of what the trailer was because my friend's like, I haven't heard of this. What is this? And every time a new actor appears, we're like, oh, okay. It's my boy Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, just like a bunch of great old dudes wearing robes, locked in a room trying to find a new pope.
Yeah. It looks interesting because it's like it feels like such a mundane plot of like, well,
right,
gotta figure out
which is what excites me. Nothing excites me more than a slightly mundane plot.
But then the way it's shot, the way it's filmed, they're really making it look like it's a political thriller, which it is, right?
Yes.
Like that's absolutely what it is. But it just, man, political thriller, espionage, like no big action explosion stuff, but just like pointed conversations, secret notes being passed, like people angry at one another in hallways. How could you vote this way? Why would you do that? Right?
Disagreements in hallways dazzle across the screen.
It looks good.
I'm excited
it's
for
shot
all of these.
Beautifully. Yeah.
I am getting ready for, last year I played that movie Fantasy League game, which I had tremendous fun with. I really encourage you to give it a shot this year. So I am like doing a bunch of research early. The draft should go through in September. Like, let me really watch all these film festivals, clock what's getting buzz. I am looking at Oscar predictions now. What's the Oscars heat check in July for the Oscars that will happen in March for movies that have not come out and will not for several months? So this is just wanted to prime you for a couple things of note coming out later this year.
Cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I got those put on my radar. It's been interesting going to the movies the past couple times that I have, because it's still the same trailers that I was seeing like months ago. And I was just like, weird.
I have seen that one trailer for Speak No Evil over and over again. And every time I watch it, it gets funnier and funnier. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, but to me it is. And I know so many people who are like, why do we need an American remake of this really incredible European film that does have a good amount of English dialogue in it to begin with? Are they going to change the ending? Are they going to Hollywoodize it? Is it going to have a happier ending? Why is there so much information in this trailer? They're giving away too much. And I'm like, I hear your arguments. These are the 2 points of my argument. Halt and catch fire. Like, I don't care what you are saying. I want to see Scoot McNairy and Mackenzie Davis again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I think this has been a good one, a good fun one.
Lots to catch up on. We should have lots to catch up on next time, because then we'll have Comic-Con news.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, I say we wrap things up right there. Melissa, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Contact me the old-fashioned way. You may send me an email at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
There you go. Let me see if I can figure out how to do the end screen there, that button there. All right. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. If you guys would like to stay up to date with all the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts Official on Threads. So please go like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, we got plenty more videos for you to check out right over there. That would help us out a ton as well. But yeah, this is number 277 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. We will see you all next time.
Bye.